The house had been quiet since everyone returned from the cemetery. Frank was in the kitchen cleaning up the food people had brought over while Geoff sat beside Aaron in the living room. Aaron's power wheelchair was turned toward the window, but he wasn't really looking outside. His eyes remained fixed on his reflection in the glass. Geoff watched him for a moment before speaking. "Aaron, are you good?" Aaron slowly moved his hands toward the keyboard attached to his chair. "Ian is in the ground, I'm talking to you. What do you want? I'm not going into myself." Geoff leaned back slightly. "I'm asking if you want something to eat." Aaron looked at what he had typed and sighed. He knew Geoff wasn't trying to pressure him. Everyone had been watching him closely since Ian died, and every question felt heavier than it should have. He typed again. "My bad, I want some grapes." Geoff nodded and stood. "Okay, grapes, I can do that." As Geoff walked toward the kitchen, Aaron stared at the empty space where Ian's wheelchair had been during their last conversation. He could still hear Ian's family crying at the funeral. He could still see the casket being lowered into the ground. Aaron closed his eyes. He wasn't shutting down. At least that was what he kept telling himself. Geoff returned and placed a bowl of grapes on the table beside Aaron. Aaron stared at them but didn't reach for one. His hands moved toward the keyboard instead. "That night, I found out our parents were still watching me at sleepaway camp and making me come home. I found out Mary was my biological mother, then my friend was dying in our living room. How am I supposed to deal with all of that, Geoff? That night, that fucking night." Geoff's face tightened as he read the words. "Aaron, you buried your friend today." Aaron's eyes immediately filled with tears. "I know." Geoff pulled a chair closer. "You keep talking about that night because everything changed at once. You learned the truth about Mom and Dad, you learned the truth about Mary, then Ian collapsed right in front of you." Aaron typed harder. "He came here because of me." "No," Geoff said firmly. "Ian came because he wanted to talk to you. What happened to him was not your fault. He was talking and then he wasn't breathing. One minute he was here and the next everyone was saying they were sorry for my loss." Aaron stopped typing and began sobbing. Geoff leaned forward and placed his hand on Aaron's arm. "You didn't even get time to understand what you had learned about yourself before you had to watch your friend die." Aaron looked at Geoff. "That is what I'm trying to tell you. My whole life changed in one night, then today we put Ian in the ground like he was just gone." "He is gone," Geoff said quietly, "and I hate saying that to you." Aaron shook his head. "Don't say it again." "Okay. I keep seeing him on the floor. I keep hearing Billy yelling for Frank to call 911. I keep hearing Bob say his family was there to say goodbye. I wanted everyone to shut up because Ian was still alive to me." Geoff swallowed hard. "You were in shock." "I am still in shock." "I know." "No, you don't. You found out Mary was my biological mother too, but you didn't find out while your friend was dying 5 feet away from you." Geoff looked down. "You're right, I didn't experience it the way you did." Aaron wiped his face against his shoulder. "I'm trying not to go into myself, I'm talking, I'm answering you, I even asked for grapes, but my head keeps going back to that night." Geoff picked up one of the grapes and held it near Aaron's hand. "Then we deal with that night one piece at a time." Aaron stared at the grape. "What piece comes first?" "The one hurting the most right now." Aaron's fingers hovered over the keyboard. "Ian." Geoff nodded. "Then we start with Ian." Aaron finally took the grape from Geoff's hand, but he didn't eat it. "I buried my friend today." "I know. And tomorrow everybody expects the world to keep moving." "The world will keep moving," Geoff said, "but nobody said you have to move at the same speed." Aaron looked toward the dark window. "Stay with me tonight." "I'm not going anywhere." Aaron placed the grape back into the bowl. "Get Frank too." "I will." Aaron's hands rested in his lap for several seconds before he typed one final message. "That fucking night took everything I thought I knew and broke it." Geoff moved closer and wrapped his arms around him. "Then Frank and I will help you pick up the pieces." Frank walked into the living room from the kitchen. He looked at the untouched bowl of grapes, then at Aaron's face. Without speaking, Frank mouthed the words to Geoff. "Is he okay?" Geoff slowly shook his head. "No." Aaron noticed the exchange. His hands moved toward the keyboard. Stop talking about me like I'm not here. Frank immediately sat down beside him. I'm sorry. Aaron typed again. I can see both of you, just ask me. Frank nodded. Are you okay? Aaron stared at the screen for a long time. No. Frank leaned forward with his elbows on his knees. Okay, you don't have to pretend with us. Aaron looked between Frank and Geoff. I'm trying to talk, I'm trying to eat, I'm trying not to shut down, but every time I close my eyes I see Ian dying, then I see the dirt falling on his casket. Frank's eyes became wet. You had to watch both. That's what I'm saying. That night he died in this room and today they put him in the ground. My brain keeps putting those two things together. Geoff pulled his chair closer. You don't have to deal with it alone. Aaron typed quickly. Everyone keeps saying that, but when I go to sleep it's only me in my head. Frank reached over and placed his hand on Aaron's shoulder. Then you're not sleeping alone tonight. Aaron looked at him. Both of you. Both of us, Frank said. Geoff nodded. We'll stay in your room. Aaron looked down at the bowl. Cut the grapes. Frank stood. I'll cut them. Not because I'm a child, I just don't want to choke tonight. I know, Frank said, you don't have to explain. Frank carried the bowl back into the kitchen. Aaron watched him leave before looking at Geoff. He thinks I'm going to break. Geoff shook his head. He thinks you're hurting. Same thing. No, Geoff said, breaking means you're done, hurting means you need help getting through it. Aaron's eyes filled again. What if I can't get through it? Geoff reached for his hand. Then we sit with you until you can. Frank returned with the grapes cut into smaller pieces. He placed the bowl back on the table and handed Aaron one. Aaron slowly ate it. Frank waited until he swallowed. Good. Aaron typed with one hand. It tastes like a grape, Frank. Frank gave a small smile. That's the best review I've gotten all day. Aaron almost smiled, but his face quickly fell again. Ian would have laughed at that. The room became quiet. Frank sat beside him again. Yeah, he said softly, he would have. Aaron ate another piece of grape. Don't let me be alone tonight. We won't, Frank said. Geoff squeezed Aaron's hand. You have us. Aaron looked toward the place where Ian had collapsed. Move my chair, I don't want to look over there anymore. Geoff stood and carefully turned Aaron's chair away from the empty space. Now Aaron faced both of them. Better. Frank nodded. Good. Aaron ate one more piece of grape before typing again. I don't think I'm okay, but I'm still here. Geoff moved closer. That is enough for tonight. Frank placed his hand over Aaron. And tomorrow we'll still be here too. Aaron's hands moved slowly across the keyboard. Even though I was in the car accident when Mom and Dad died, this feels worse. Geoff's face dropped. Frank looked toward him but remained quiet. Aaron continued typing. I don't know why I loved Mom and Dad, I still miss them, but with Ian I watched it happen. He was talking to us and then he was dying in our living room. Today I watched them put him in the ground. Geoff crouched beside Aaron's chair. You don't have to compare them. But my head is comparing them. That doesn't mean you loved Mom and Dad less, Frank said. The accident changed your whole life. You were hurt, confused, and dealing with your own body. You may not have been able to understand all of it at once. Aaron's eyes filled with tears. With Ian, I understood everything. Geoff nodded slowly. You knew exactly what was happening. I heard Billy say he wasn't breathing. I saw Frank call 911. I heard everybody crying. I knew what the words meant this time. Frank moved closer. And today made it real all over again. Aaron began sobbing quietly. When Mom and Dad died, I woke up and they were already gone. With Ian, I watched him leave. Geoff wrapped an arm around Aaron. I'm sorry. Aaron leaned against him. I feel bad saying Ian hurts worse. Don't feel guilty, Geoff said. Grief doesn't measure how much you loved somebody. Every loss hurts differently. Aaron looked at Frank. Am I a bad son? No. Frank answered immediately, you're a grieving friend. Aaron lowered his head. I'm still a grieving son too. You are, Geoff said. You've been carrying Mom and Dad since the accident. Ian's death didn't replace that pain, it opened everything back up. Aaron's breathing became uneven. It feels like the accident, Mom and Dad, Mary, Wendy and Ian are all in my head at the same time. Frank placed his hand on Aaron's shoulder. That is too much for one person to carry alone. Aaron typed through his tears. Then help me because I don't know what to do with it. Geoff tightened his hold around him. We'll help you. Frank pulled his chair closer until all three of them were together. You don't have to figure it out tonight, Frank said. Tonight you eat a little, we get you comfortable and nobody leaves you alone. Aaron looked at the bowl of grapes. I don't want any more. That's okay, Geoff said. I want to go to bed. Frank stood and moved behind Aaron's wheelchair. We'll take you. Aaron stopped him before he could move the chair. Both of you stay until I sleep. We will, Geoff promised. Aaron stared at the dark television screen. And when I wake up scared, don't tell me it was just a dream. Frank shook his head. I'll tell you that you're home, you're safe, and we're right here. Aaron nodded. Okay, take me out of this room. Before they could leave, Geoff picked up a nutrition shake from the table and held it out toward Aaron. Drink this shake, you haven't eaten since lunch, so you need something in your stomach before bed. Aaron looked away, his voice came out weak and broken. And not hungry. Geoff leaned closer. Aaron sighed and reached for his keyboard. Okay, fine. Frank brought the straw toward Aaron's mouth. Slowly, you don't have to finish it all at once. Aaron took a small sip, then pulled his head back. It tastes bad. It's chocolate, Geoff said. It tastes like sad chocolate. Frank almost laughed but stopped himself when he saw Aaron's expression. Geoff sat beside him. Just a few more drinks, then we'll get you into bed. Aaron took another sip. You're acting like Dad. Geoff froze. What do you mean? He used to stand over me and make sure I finished everything. Geoff lowered the bottle. I'm not trying to control you. I know. Then tell me to back off if I'm doing too much. Aaron stared at the screen before typing again. Don't back off, I'm just angry. At me. At everybody, at Ian, at Mom and Dad, at Mary's, at my bodies at that night. Frank rested a hand on Aaron's shoulder. You're allowed to be angry. Aaron's breathing shook. Ian knew he was sick, why did he come here? Geoff answered carefully. Because he wanted to see you. Then he died here. That wasn't his choice. I know, but I'm still mad at him. Geoff nodded. You can love him and still be angry that he left. Aaron took another sip of the shake. I hate that everybody keeps leaving me. Frank crouched in front of his chair. I'm here. Aaron looked at Geoff. I'm here too, Geoff said. Aaron typed slowly. Until when? Geoff's eyes filled with tears. As long as you need me. Aaron looked back at Frank. As long as I'm breathing, Frank said. Aaron drank again, this time taking several sips before turning his head away. Done. Geoff checked the bottle. You drank almost half. That is enough, don't start. Geoff put the cap back on. Okay, that's enough. Aaron's fingers remained on the keyboard. Sorry I snapped at you. You don't have to apologize for having a bad day. This is more than a bad day. Geoff placed the shake on the table. You're right, this was one of the hardest days of your life. Aaron's lower lip trembled. Take me to bed before I start crying again. Frank moved behind the wheelchair. You can cry in bed. I know, I just want to be somewhere Ian didn't die. Geoff stood beside him. Let's go. Frank began guiding Aaron out of the living room. As they reached the hallway, Aaron stopped the chair. Geoff. Yes. Thank you for making me drink it. Geoff placed a hand on his shoulder. You're welcome. Aaron looked down. But it still tasted like sad chocolate. This time Frank let out a small laugh. Geoff smiled through his tears. I'll buy a different flavor tomorrow. Aaron typed one final message before they continued toward his bedroom. Ian likes strawberry, get strawberry. Before Frank could move the wheelchair farther down the hallway, Aaron stopped him again. His hands moved across the keyboard. Put the camera's memory card in my laptop, Geoff. Geoff looked toward the small camera mounted near Aaron's chair. I don't know why you have us record you when you're in distress, but the card is already in the laptop. Aaron typed one word. Money, that's why. Geoff stared at the screen. Money. Aaron nodded and continued typing. People watch pain, they watched me after the accident, they watched the court videos, they watched me fight with you, they will watch this too. Frank stepped around the chair. Aaron, you just buried Ian today. I know what day it is. You don't have to turn today into content, Frank said. Aaron typed harder. I have no voice, I can't work like I used to, all that money was stolen, lost or gone, the camera is something I can still control. Geoff walked over to the laptop and opened it. You want people to watch you grieving. They already watch strangers grieve every day, at least this is my story and my money. Geoff looked uncomfortable. You were crying, you were overwhelmed, you said things about Mom's, Dad and Ian that you might not want everyone hearing. Aaron stared at him. That is why I record everything. People always tell my story for me, judges did it, Mary did it, Mom and Dad did it, even you do it sometimes. Geoff lowered his head. I'm trying not to. Then let me decide what stays and what gets deleted. Frank pulled a chair close to Aaron. You can make that decision tomorrow, you don't need to upload anything tonight. Aaron shook his head. I didn't say upload it, I said put the card in the laptop. It's in there, Geoff repeated, the files are transferring. Aaron watched the progress bar on the screen. Good, make a backup too. Geoff sighed. You're really thinking about money right now. Aaron's face tightened. I think about money because money pays Frank. Money pays for this chair, money pays for shakes, diapers, doctors, and this house. Grief does not stop bills. Frank looked toward Geoff. He's not wrong. Geoff crossed his arms. No, he's not wrong, but I don't want him feeling like he has to sell the worst moments of his life to survive. Aaron typed slowly. I'm not selling Ian. Then what are you doing? Geoff asked. Showing what happens after the funeral. Everybody records the flowers, the speeches, and the casket. Nobody records what happens when you get home and can't eat. The room became quiet. Aaron continued. Nobody shows the part where you feel guilty because your friend dying hurts worse than your parents dying. Nobody shows the part where your brother makes you drink sad chocolate because you forgot to eat. Frank looked away, wiping his eyes. Geoff sat beside the laptop. You want people to see the truth. Yes, and I want to make money, both can be true. Geoff nodded reluctantly. Okay, but nothing gets posted until you've slept and watched it back. Aaron stared at him. My footage, my choice. It is your choice, Geoff said. I'm asking you to make that choice when this day isn't sitting directly on top of you. Aaron thought for a moment. Fine, back it up, do not edit it, do not delete anything. I won't. And don't make me look inspirational. Frank gave a confused expression. What does that mean? Aaron typed again. No sad piano music, no title saying brave disabled man survives heartbreaking funeral. I buried my friend, I ate 3 pieces of grape and drank half a bad shake, that is all. Despite everything, Frank let out a quiet laugh. Geoff smiled slightly. Okay, no sad piano. Aaron looked at the laptop as the files continued transferring. Title it The Day After Goodbye. Geoff's smile disappeared. That's a good title. Ian would say it is dramatic. He probably would, Frank said. Aaron's eyes filled again. Then he would watch the whole thing and complain that the thumbnail made him look fat. Geoff laughed through his tears. Frank placed his hand on Aaron's shoulder. Aaron stared at the screen for another moment before typing. Save it and close the laptop, I'm done working. Geoff created the backup and closed the computer. It's saved. Aaron nodded. Now take me to bed. Frank moved behind the wheelchair. As they started down the hallway, Aaron typed one final message. Tomorrow we figure out the money, tonight I miss my friend. Frank stayed beside Aaron's wheelchair as Geoff closed the laptop. Aaron, what if people say we're exploiting you? Aaron immediately started typing. I don't care what they say, they aren't paying our bills, we are. Frank frowned. But they might think Geoff and I are forcing you to record this. Then put the part where you ask me that in the video. Geoff looked at Aaron. You want people to hear us questioning it. Yes, don't cut it out and make everything look perfect. Frank sat down across from him. I just don't want anyone thinking we're using your grief for money. Aaron's fingers moved faster. You aren't using me, I told you to turn on the camera, I told Geoff to save the card, I am making the choice. What happens if you regret it tomorrow? Frank asked. Then I don't upload it. Recording something does not mean everybody has to see it. Geoff nodded. That's fair. Aaron continued typing. People will judge us no matter what. If I don't work, they'll say I'm lazy and living off Geoff. If I show my life, they'll say you're exploiting me. If I only show good days, they'll say it's fake. Frank looked down. You've thought about this a lot. I have to, my life costs money. Geoff moved closer. You shouldn't have to think about bills tonight. But I do. Ian died and the electric bill still comes. Frank still needs to be paid, my chair still needs repairs, tomorrow morning I still need care. Frank reached over and rested his hand on Aaron's arm. I would stay even if you couldn't pay me. Aaron looked directly at him before typing. I know, but you shouldn't have to work for free because you love me. Frank's eyes filled with tears. I don't only stay because it's my job. I know that too. Geoff sat on the edge of the table. I'll make sure the bills are handled, you don't have to turn every painful moment into income. Aaron shook his head. You're still missing the point, the camera gives me something I control. Geoff stayed quiet. My body changed, my voice is almost gone. Mom and Dad controlled my childhood, Mary tried to control my future, judges tried to decide whether my typed words counted, but this camera records what I say. Frank nodded slowly. So it isn't only about money. It is about money and control, both. Geoff opened the laptop again. I'll save a second backup, nothing gets uploaded until you watch it. Aaron typed. Fine, but I make the final decision. You make the final decision, Geoff agreed. Frank pointed toward the camera. And we keep this conversation in. Every word. Even the part where I said people might think we're exploiting you. Especially that part. Frank leaned back. Okay. Aaron stared at the closed camera for several seconds. People can say what they want. They get to close the video and go back to their lives. We still have to live this one. The room became silent. Geoff looked toward Frank, then back at Aaron. That should be the last line. Aaron shook his head. No, the last line is that I want to go to bed. Frank stood and moved behind the wheelchair. That sounds like a better ending. Aaron typed once more before Frank guided him down the hallway. And buy strawberry shakes tomorrow. Ian had better taste than both of you. A few days after Aaron uploaded the video, another content creator posted a response. The man played short clips of Aaron crying, Geoff giving him the nutrition shake and Frank asking whether people might accuse them of exploiting him. Then the man looked directly into his camera. Shame on these caregivers, he said. This disabled man is grieving and they're recording him for money. Somebody needs to step in and save him. Aaron watched the entire video from his laptop. Geoff stood behind his chair, while Frank sat on the edge of the couch. Don't respond while you're angry, Geoff warned. Aaron turned on his camera. Aaron, Frank said. Aaron ignored both of them and began typing. This douchebag needs to get a fucking life. He thinks I need to be saved. That is sad. He doesn't know my life. Geoff knows my life. Frank knows my life. I know my own life. Frank glanced at Geoff. Aaron continued. He took my video, used my face, played my pain on his channel and then called my caregivers exploiters. If he doesn't want me making money on YouTube, then he can pay me half of his income because he is using my content. Geoff leaned closer to the camera. You might want to calm the language down. Aaron typed immediately. No, he didn't calm his language down when he accused both of you of abusing me. Frank shook his head. He didn't say abuse. He said I needed saving. Saving from who? Frank, you, Geoff. Frank stayed silent. Aaron looked back at the camera. This man watched a 10-minute video and decided he understands my entire life. He does not know what Frank does for me every night. He does not know how many times Geoff has fought for me. He does not know that I told them to record. Aaron pulled up the original footage on his laptop. Here is the part he conveniently cut out. The video showed Frank asking, what if people say we're exploiting you? Then Aaron's typed answer appeared on the screen. I don't care what they say, they aren't paying our bills, we are. Aaron paused the clip. Did that look like Frank was forcing me? He was trying to protect me from people exactly like this guy. Geoff folded his arms. He's going to respond again. Good, every response gives my original video more attention. Frank couldn't help smiling slightly. You really have thought about this. Aaron continued recording. I am 32 years old, I have a brain injury, I use a wheelchair, my speech is damaged and I need caregivers. None of that means I cannot make my own decisions. He stopped typing for a moment to collect himself. Some people see a disabled person and automatically believe somebody else must be controlling them. That is not protection. That is ableism wearing a superhero costume. Geoff raised his eyebrows. That was a good line. Aaron looked at him sharply. Don't interrupt my video. Sorry. Aaron faced the camera again. Geoff and Frank are not perfect. Geoff can be an overprotective asshole and Frank sometimes treats me like I'm going to fall apart if somebody looks at me wrong. Damn, Frank muttered. But they listen when I tell them to stop. They question me when they think I might regret something. They also respect that the final decision belongs to me. Aaron opened the other creator's video and pointed toward the number of views. This man made money using my name, my grief, and my footage while accusing me of making money from my own life. Think about how stupid that is. Frank stepped closer. Make it clear that people can criticize the video, they just shouldn't speak for you. Aaron nodded and typed. You can dislike my content, you can say you would never record yourself grieving, you can say the video made you uncomfortable, but you do not get to decide that I was manipulated just because my choices are different from yours. Geoff sat beside him. You sure you want to post this? Aaron looked at him. Yes. You don't want to sleep on it. No, he posted his opinion without sleeping on it. I can post my own truth. Frank pointed toward the camera. You're still recording. Aaron turned toward the lens one final time. Stop trying to save disabled adults who never asked you to save them. Listen to us. Believe us when we tell you what we chose, and stop stealing my clips unless you are ready to share the money. Aaron ended the recording. Geoff stared at the camera. Well, that was direct. Aaron typed. Upload it. Frank looked at the title box. What are you calling it? Aaron thought for a moment before typing. I don't need you to save me. Geoff nodded. That works. Frank uploaded the response. Within minutes, comments began appearing. Some supported Aaron, others accused Geoff and Frank of helping him write the response. A few people demanded proof that Aaron controlled his own channel. Aaron read the comments and shook his head. They will believe anything except the disabled person talking directly to them. Geoff rested a hand on his shoulder. You don't have to answer every comment. I know. Frank closed the laptop. That's enough internet for tonight. Aaron frowned. I run the channel. And the channel will still exist tomorrow, Frank replied. Aaron looked between them before typing. Fine, but screenshot the views first. Geoff laughed. You really are thinking about the money. Aaron gave him a small grin. They're talking about me anyway, they might as well help pay for the strawberry shakes. The same man posted another video the following day. This time he sounded even more certain. These two men will get a baby and exploit the child the same way, he said. The disabled guy won't understand, he only thinks this is what he wants. Aaron, I'm going to get you help before this goes too far. Aaron watched the clip twice. Frank stood behind him with his arms crossed. Geoff paced near the couch. He's talking like you aren't even a person, Frank said. Aaron turned on his camera immediately. Geoff stopped walking. Aaron, are you sure? Aaron started typing. Yes, start recording. The red light came on. Aaron looked directly into the camera. First of all, stop calling me the disabled guy. My name is Aaron. You know my name because you used it at the end when you threatened to get me help I never asked for. Frank sat beside him. Aaron continued. Second, Geoff and Frank are not planning to get a baby. I don't know where you got that from, but now you are inventing children so you can accuse them of future abuse. Get a fucking life. Geoff tried not to smile. Aaron kept typing. You said I would not understand because I am disabled. That tells everybody exactly what you think of people like me. You think a wheelchair means I cannot think. You think damaged speech means damaged intelligence. You think needing care means I lose the right to make decisions. Aaron stopped for a moment. His hands shook with anger. Frank placed a hand near his arm but did not touch him until Aaron nodded. Aaron typed again. You keep saying I only think this is what I want. How does that work? Do you know what I want better than I do? Do you know what I think better than I do? Geoff looked toward the camera. He's not confused. Aaron immediately typed. Do not defend me yet, let me speak. Geoff nodded. Okay. Aaron faced the camera again. That is the difference between Geoff and you. Geoff sometimes gets too protective, but when I tell him to stop talking for me, he stops. You have made 2 videos speaking for me and you still have not listened to one thing I said. Frank looked down, trying to hide how proud he was. Aaron continued. You said you are going to get me help before it goes too far. What does that mean? Are you calling the police, Adult Protective Services? Are you trying to send strangers to my home because you do not like my YouTube channel? The room became quiet. Geoff stepped closer. That part needs to stay in. Aaron nodded. You do not know my address, you do not know my doctors, you do not know my care plan, you do not know how I pay my bills. You watched clips online and decided you were my hero. Frank whispered, he's becoming dangerous. Aaron heard him and typed. Frank thinks your behavior is becoming dangerous. I agree, not because I am scared of criticism, but because you keep telling your audience that I cannot understand my own choices. People believe things like that and then they think they have permission to interfere with my life. Geoff sat beside Aaron. What do you want to do? Aaron typed without looking away from the camera. I want you to stop using my footage. I want you to stop talking about imaginary bobbies. I want you to stop threatening to send help to a grown man who repeatedly told you no. Aaron took a breath. You are not protecting me, you are harassing me. Frank looked at Geoff. Geoff nodded slowly. Aaron continued. Disabled adults are allowed to make choices you dislike. We are allowed to work. We are allowed to make money. We are allowed to be angry, funny, grieving, rude, and complicated. We do not exist to make you feel heroic. Aaron paused before typing the final part. You said I would not understand. I understand perfectly. You need me to be helpless because your entire channel depends on you pretending to save me. Geoff let out a quiet breath. That's the line. Aaron looked toward him. I know. He turned back to the camera. Do not contact me, do not contact Geoff, do not contact Frank, do not send anyone to this house. If you use my clips again, we will document it. If you threaten us again, we will document that too. Frank leaned closer. Say that clearly one more time. Aaron typed. I do not want your help, leave me alone. He ended the recording. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then Geoff asked, do you still want to upload it? Aaron typed. Yes, and save every video he made. Frank nodded. We should keep screenshots too. Everything, views, titles, comments, and dates. Geoff opened the laptop and began saving copies. What do you want to call this response? Aaron stared at the title box before typing. You are not my savior. Frank looked at him. That's strong. Aaron typed one more sentence. He needs strong because he did not understand polite. The video exploded faster than any of them expected. Within the first hour, the views climbed into the thousands. By the end of the night, the video had passed every other upload on Aaron's channel. Frank refreshed the analytics page again. 28,000. Geoff looked over his shoulder. You refreshed it 10 seconds ago. It went up another 2,000. Aaron sat in front of the laptop, watching the numbers rise. I told you people were going to watch. Geoff folded his arms. This is not the kind of attention I wanted for you. You didn't want attention when we needed money either. I want you to make money, Geoff said. I just don't want some stranger building a campaign around saving you. Frank scrolled through the comments. A lot of people are defending you. Aaron typed. Read them. Frank leaned closer to the screen. One person wrote, Aaron has explained his decision multiple times. Stop infantilizing disabled adults. Aaron nodded. Good, next. Frank continued. The caregiver asked whether Aaron felt exploited. That is the opposite of exploitation. Geoff pointed toward the screen. Save that one. Aaron looked at him. Why? Because for once somebody online has common sense. Frank kept scrolling, but his expression changed. There are bad comments too. Read those. You don't need to hear all of them. Aaron typed more forcefully. It is my channel, read them. Frank sighed. One says Geoff and I taught you what to type. Aaron stared at the comment. Ask them how you taught me to call both of you assholes. Frank laughed. Geoff shook his head. That might actually be a good response. Aaron typed. No, do not reply yet, let the video move. Geoff raised his eyebrows. Now you understand not responding immediately. I understand money, every comment helps the video. Frank checked the revenue estimate. This video made more in one day than the funeral video made all week. Aaron stared at the number. How much? Frank hesitated. After YouTube's cut, it could be a few $100s already, maybe more when it updates. Aaron leaned back. That man wanted me off YouTube, and now he is helping pay our bills. Geoff sat beside him. Do not start thanking him. I am not thanking him, I am laughing at him. Another notification appeared. The original man had uploaded a third response. Frank immediately closed the notification. No. Aaron turned toward him. Open it. No, Aaron, you just buried Ian a few days ago. You have barely slept and now you are watching some man insult you every night. Aaron's hand stayed still. Geoff stepped between them. Frank is right. Aaron typed. I need to know what he said. You do not need to know tonight, Geoff replied. He is talking about my life. And you are letting him control your night, Geoff said. Aaron looked toward the camera. Turn it on. Frank shook his head. No. Aaron's face tightened. You said it was my choice. It is, Frank said, but I'm allowed to tell you when I think the choice is hurting you. Aaron began typing quickly. The views are crazy, people finally listen when I talk about being treated like I cannot think. I am not stopping because you are uncomfortable. Geoff pulled a chair closer. This is not about us being uncomfortable. You have not eaten dinner, you have barely touched your shakes, you are refreshing the views every 30 seconds. Aaron looked away. Frank softened his voice. You won, people heard you. Aaron typed. This is not winning, he still thinks I need saving. You cannot force him to understand, Geoff said. Then I will make him look stupid until everyone else understands. Geoff looked at Frank. Frank closed the laptop. Aaron immediately hit the table with the side of his hand. Open it. No, Frank said calmly. Aaron's breathing became uneven. Do not control me. I am not controlling you, the laptop is still yours, the channel is still yours, I'm asking you to take 1 hour away from it. Aaron glared at him. Geoff placed a hand on Aaron's arm. The views will still be there after you eat. Aaron typed with trembling fingers. What if they stop? Frank finally understood. This is not only about the man. Aaron did not answer. Geoff leaned closer. You're scared the attention will disappear. Aaron's eyes filled with tears. When Ian died, everybody came, they called, they sent flowers, then they went home, now people are watching me again. Frank sat back down. Aaron. When the views stop, everybody leaves again. The room became quiet. Geoff crouched beside the wheelchair. Views are not people staying with you. I know that. But Frank and I are staying. Aaron wiped his face against his shoulder. You say that now. Frank reopened the laptop, but he did not go to the new response video. Instead, he turned the screen toward Aaron and showed him the channel dashboard. The view count continued climbing. Look, Frank said, it went up while the laptop was closed. Aaron stared at the number. You don't have to watch it every second, Geoff added. The video can work while you rest. Aaron typed slowly. That sounds like something you would say to a child. It also sounds like something a manager would say to a creator burning himself out, Geoff replied. Aaron looked at the untouched dinner tray. How many views now? Frank checked. 41,000. Aaron's eyes widened. Holy shit. Geoff smiled despite himself. Yeah, holy shit. Aaron looked toward the camera. Record this part. Frank sighed. What part? Aaron typed. The part where I eat dinner while the man who wants me off YouTube makes me money. Geoff laughed. That is petty. Yes. Frank turned on the camera. Aaron took a bite of food and looked directly into the lens. To the man trying to save me, thank you for paying for tonight's dinner, now leave me the fuck alone. Frank stopped the recording. That was 12 seconds. Aaron typed. Make it a short. Geoff shook his head. You are impossible. Aaron gave a small smile. Unprofitable. Another creator made a short reaction video after seeing Aaron's response. The man leaned back in his chair, laughing as he replayed Aaron's final line. Aaron told you to fuck off, he said, that's what you get. He laughed again. You tried to make yourself look like a hero, but you didn't listen to the one person you claimed you were protecting. Aaron told you clearly that he doesn't want your help. Take the loss and leave that man alone. Frank played the clip on Aaron's laptop. Aaron watched it with a small grin. Play it again. Geoff stood behind the chair. You've already watched it 3 times. 4 will make it funnier. Frank replayed the part where the creator laughed. Aaron told you to fuck off, that's what you get. Aaron's shoulders moved as he laughed quietly. Finally, somebody understands English. Geoff shook his head. He understands swearing at least. The new creator continued in the video. Aaron has explained himself multiple times. You don't get to erase his decisions because he has a disability. You don't get to accuse his caregivers of things without evidence, and you definitely don't threaten to send help after he told you to stop. Aaron paused the video. See, that is what I said. Frank nodded. He's defending your right to make your own decisions. And he didn't call me inspirational, I like him. Geoff leaned closer to the screen. He's also getting views from the situation. Aaron looked at him. So am I welcome to YouTube? Frank laughed. He has a point, Geoff. I know he has a point, Geoff replied. I'm just saying that everybody is making content about this now. Aaron typed. Good, more people will hear what I said. Frank refreshed Aaron's channel. The response video just passed 100,000 views. Aaron's eyes widened. Say that again. 100,000. Aaron looked toward Geoff. Still think the camera was a bad idea. Geoff sighed. I think recording gave you control over your own story. I still don't like that your grief became entertainment. It was my grief before it was entertainment. The video did not create it. I know. Aaron turned back toward the reaction video. The creator was still laughing. The funniest part, the man said, is that Aaron understands the situation better than the guy claiming Aaron doesn't understand anything. Aaron slapped the armrest excitedly. That is the title. Frank looked confused. What title? Aaron typed. Aaron understands more than his savior. Geoff smiled. That's petty. Stop saying that like it is bad. Frank scrolled through the comments under the reaction video. People are going to your channel from here. Tell him thank you. You want to comment? Aaron nodded. Frank moved the keyboard closer. Aaron typed beneath the video. Thank you for listening to what I actually said, and yes, I told him to fuck off. Frank read it aloud before posting. Geoff laughed. That will probably become the top comment. Within minutes, replies began appearing. One person wrote, Aaron has entered the chat. Another wrote, the man himself has spoken. A third wrote, somebody please tell the fake hero to stop before Aaron destroys him again. Aaron smiled as Frank read them. Then his expression slowly changed. Do they only like me because I am fighting somebody? Frank stopped scrolling. What? The funeral video did numbers, the angry videos did more. Are they watching me or are they watching a fight? Geoff sat beside him. Some are watching the drama, that's how the internet works. Aaron lowered his eyes. Then when the fight ends, they leave. Frank closed the comments. Some will, some might stay because they heard you and want to know more about you. How do you know? I don't, Frank admitted, but you get to decide what they see next. Aaron looked toward the camera. I don't want every video to be me yelling. Then don't make every video about this guy, Geoff said. Aaron thought for a moment. Tomorrow record a normal day. Frank nodded. What counts as normal? Aaron typed. You changing me, Geoff arguing with insurance, me doing therapy, and all three of us complaining about dinner. Geoff frowned. That is our normal. Sadly. Frank laughed. What are you calling it? Aaron stared at the screen before answering. What my caregivers actually do. Geoff nodded. That could help. No dramatic editing, no sad music, no pretending you two are saints. Frank pointed toward Geoff. That last part will be easy. Geoff shoved Frank lightly. Aaron laughed again. For the first time in several days, the laughter did not immediately turn into tears. Aaron looked back at the reaction creator's paused face. Send him a message. Frank raised an eyebrow. What should it say? Aaron typed. Thanks for telling him what he deserved to hear. You can use my clip but tag my channel next time. Geoff smiled. Always thinking about business. Aaron looked at the rising view count. Somebody in this house has to. Later that night, Frank waited until Geoff and Aaron were asleep before picking up the camera. He carried it into the kitchen, closed the door behind him, and set it on the table. For once, neither Geoff nor Aaron was beside him. Frank pressed the record button and sat down. Hi Will, I'm talking directly to you. He paused, choosing his words carefully. I understand that you say you want to protect children online. All three of us understand that concern, but Aaron is 32 years old. He is not a child. Frank leaned closer to the camera. He has personal issues that I am not going to share because they are none of your business. But I will tell you this, that night Geoff and I did not want Aaron to post that video. Frank shook his head. Aaron is stubborn, very stubborn. Once he decides he wants something, it is difficult to change his mind. We questioned him, we asked him to wait. We told him that he was grieving and that he might regret putting that moment online. Frank rested his arms on the table. But he understood every word we said. He still made his decision. His expression became more serious. I watched your last video. What you said hurt me. Frank looked down for a moment. I never showed that video to Geoff or Aaron. I never even told them exactly what you said. He looked back into the lens. Because I know both of them, Geoff would take it personally because he is Aaron's brother. Aaron would feel disrespected because you keep talking about him like he cannot understand his own life. Frank took a slow breath. And those two men will defend themselves in real life. They are not internet characters, so you need to be careful with what you say and stop trying to push this situation further. Frank pointed gently toward the camera. That is not a threat. I am telling you that your words have consequences. You cannot repeatedly accuse real people of exploiting someone, threaten to interfere in their home, and then act surprised when they become angry. Frank sat back. You said Aaron only thinks he chose this. Do you understand how insulting that is? His voice cracked slightly. I help Aaron eat, I help him get dressed, I help him when he wakes up from night terrors. I was beside him when Ian died in that living room. I was beside him after the funeral when he could barely drink half a shake. Frank wiped his face. You saw a video. I lived this life with him. He looked directly into the camera again. I am not perfect. Geoff is not perfect. Aaron is definitely not perfect, but we are a family and we are trying to survive things you know nothing about. Frank paused. If you truly care about Aaron, listen to him. He told you he does not want your help. He told you to stop speaking for him. He told you to leave us alone. His voice became firmer. You do not protect a disabled adult by ignoring every word he says. Frank reached toward the camera but stopped before turning it off. One more thing, do not talk about imaginary bobbies, do not accuse us of things that have never happened, and do not encourage your viewers to search for us or interfere in our lives. He stared silently into the lens for several seconds. Leave Aaron alone. Frank ended the recording. He remained at the kitchen table, staring at the dark camera screen. He had not told Geoff. He had not told Aaron. And he still was not sure whether he would upload the video. Behind him, the kitchen door slowly opened. Aaron sat in the hallway in his wheelchair, his keyboard glowing in the darkness. Frank froze. Aaron began typing. What did he say that you did not tell us? Frank looked toward the floor. He talked about your birth family, he admitted. He said the parents who raised you were right to control your life. Aaron's entire expression changed. His hand slammed against the keyboard. Put it up. Frank shook his head. Aaron. Put it up, Frank. I made that video because I wanted to stop this from getting worse. Then upload it. Frank moved closer to Aaron's wheelchair. You're already angry. Geoff is going to be furious when he hears what we'll said. Aaron typed harder. You had no right to hide it from me. I was trying to protect you. Aaron stared at Frank before typing again. That is the same thing Will says. Frank froze. That's not fair. He says I don't understand, so he decides what I should know. You decided I couldn't handle the video, so you decided what I should know. Tell me the difference. Frank opened his mouth, but no words came out. Aaron continued. I know you love me, I know you were scared, but do not hide things about my life from me. I'm sorry. Put your video up. Frank looked toward the closed bedroom doors. Geoff doesn't know I recorded it. Then wake him up. Aaron, it's after midnight. He will be angrier if he finds it online tomorrow. Frank knew Aaron was right. He picked up the camera and laptop, then followed Aaron down the hallway toward Geoff's room. Frank knocked twice. Geoff. There was no answer. Aaron hit the bedroom door with the side of his hand. Geoff woke with a start. What happened? Frank opened the door. We need to talk. Geoff looked at the camera in Frank's hand, then at Aaron's angry face. What did you do? Frank placed the camera on the dresser. I recorded a response to Will. Geoff sat up. By yourself? Yes. Why? Frank hesitated. Because his last video crossed a line. Aaron typed. He talked about my birth family, he said our parents were right to control me, Frank hid it from us. Geoff slowly turned toward Frank. He said what? This is why I didn't tell you, Frank replied, look at both of you. Geoff threw the blanket aside and stood. Show me the video. Frank shook his head. No. Aaron's keyboard clicked immediately. Show him. Frank opened the laptop and found Will's video. Before pressing play, he looked at Geoff. You cannot contact him, you cannot threaten him, you cannot go looking for him. Play it. Promise me. Frank. Promise me. Geoff clenched his jaw. I promise I won't do anything tonight. That is not what I asked. It is what I can promise. Frank reluctantly pressed play. Will appeared on the screen. Aaron's birth parents gave him up because they knew something was wrong, Will said. The family who raised him had to control him because he couldn't make safe decisions. Geoff and Frank are continuing that same cycle while pretending Aaron is in charge. Geoff reached forward and slammed the laptop shut. Open it, Aaron typed. I heard enough. I didn't. You do not need to hear the rest. Aaron looked at Geoff with disbelief. Not you too. Geoff's expression softened. Aaron. Open the fucking laptop, both of you keep deciding what I can handle. Frank reopened it. The video continued. Will claimed Aaron's grief made him easy to manipulate. He said Aaron's parents had probably protected the world from his behavior and that Geoff and Frank were using his anger for money. When the video ended, nobody spoke. Aaron's hands rested over the keyboard, trembling. Frank crouched beside him. I'm sorry. Aaron typed slowly. He thinks they were right. Geoff knelt on Aaron's other side. They were. They watched me at camp, they paid people to report everything I did, they kept me from staying overnight, they treated me like I couldn't be trusted. I know. And now this stranger is telling thousands of people they were right. Geoff looked toward the camera. We respond together. Frank shook his head. My video is already recorded. I want to see it. Frank played his private recording. Geoff watched silently as Frank warned Will to be careful and explained that Aaron was an adult who had made his own decision. When the video ended, Geoff looked at Frank. You should not have said we would fight him in real life. I didn't threaten him. It sounds like a threat. I said his words have consequences. Aaron typed. Leave it in. Both men looked at him. Frank asked, you want the whole thing uploaded? Yes, no cuts. Geoff sat on the edge of the bed. This is going to start another round. He already started it. Aaron, every response gives him more attention. He used my birth family against me. I am not staying quiet. Frank opened the upload page. What title? Aaron stared at the screen for several seconds. Then he typed, "My caregiver has something to say." Geoff shook his head. No, this is bigger than Frank defending himself. Aaron deleted the title. He typed again. You do know why I was adopted. Frank looked at him. Are you talking about the adoption in this video? Not everything, just enough. Geoff moved the keyboard closer to Aaron. What do you want to say? Frank turned on the camera. Aaron faced the lens and began typing. Will, you said my birth parents gave me away because something was wrong with me. You do not know that. I do not even know the full truth yet. His eyes filled with tears, but he continued. You said the parents who raised me were right to control me. They followed me at sleepaway camp. They paid people to watch me. They stopped me from having normal experiences because they believed my disability meant I could never grow up. Geoff placed a hand on Aaron's shoulder. Aaron typed, They loved me, but love does not make every choice correct. Dead parents can still have made mistakes. Adoptive parents can still have caused harm. Disabled children grow into disabled adults whether people are ready for that or not. Frank remained behind the camera. You keep turning the worst parts of my life into evidence that I cannot understand my own life. Stop. Aaron's breathing became uneven. My parents are dead. My biological family is dead. My friend Ian is dead. You are digging through all of them for content while accusing me of exploiting myself. Geoff whispered, Take a breath. Aaron shook his head and typed one final message. Frank tried to hide your words because he knew they would hurt me. I am angry that he hid them, but I understand why he did it. That is what family looks like. We make mistakes, we confront each other, and we keep talking. You do not know us. Aaron stared directly into the camera. Leave my dead family out of your mouth. Frank stopped the recording. Geoff looked at Aaron. You sure? Aaron typed. Put both videos together, Frank first, me second, upload it now. Frank looked at Geoff. Geoff sighed and nodded. Do it. Frank began uploading the video. Aaron watched the progress bar move across the screen. And never hide something like that from me again. Frank lowered his head. I won't. Geoff placed his hand over Aaron. Neither will I. Aaron looked between them. Good, because I don't need saving from the truth. I need both of you beside me when it hurts. Aaron stared at both of them, still breathing hard from everything he had just typed. Then his hands moved across the keyboard again. Now one of you change me. The anger left Frank's face immediately. I've got you. Geoff reached for the laptop. I'll finish the upload. Aaron looked at him. No, Frank recorded it. You change me, let him finish. Geoff nodded. Okay. Frank sat at the desk and watched the upload bar while Geoff moved behind Aaron's wheelchair. Aaron typed again. And do not talk to me like a baby because I'm upset. I won't, Geoff said. You always say that, then you use the soft voice. Geoff unlocked the chair. I'll use my normal annoying brother voice. Aaron looked at him for a moment. Better. Geoff guided Aaron toward the bedroom. Frank called after them from the desk. The upload is at 60%. Aaron typed without turning around. Do not change the title. I won't. Once they reached the bedroom, Geoff closed the door and gathered the supplies. Aaron watched him carefully. You comfortable doing this with me? Geoff asked. Aaron typed. You've changed me before, stop acting weird. I'm not acting weird. You are taking too long. Geoff sighed. There's the Aaron I know. He helped Aaron transfer safely onto the bed and began removing the wet clothing. Aaron looked toward the ceiling. I hate needing this after fighting someone online about treating me like a child. Geoff paused. Needing help with your body doesn't make you a child. It feels like it sometimes. You still told Frank what to upload, told me what not to say, and ordered both of us around. Aaron glanced toward him. That last part made me feel better. I figured. Geoff cleaned him carefully and reached for a fresh diaper. Aaron's fingers moved slowly on the keyboard beside him. Do you think Will is right about Mom and Dad? Geoff stopped what he was doing. No. Not even a little. They were scared, they were overprotective. Sometimes they made choices because they thought they were helping you. Aaron stared at him. That was not my question. Geoff took a breath. No, I don't think they were right to watch you constantly or stop you from growing up. Aaron's eyes filled. Then why didn't you fight harder for me? Geoff lowered his head. I was a kid too, then I became an adult who thought keeping the peace was the same as protecting you. It was. I know. Geoff secured the fresh diaper and helped Aaron into clean clothes. Aaron typed. I am mad at Frank for hiding that video. You should tell him. I did. I mean after you calm down. Aaron looked toward the bedroom door. He was trying to protect me. Yes. But he still made the choice for me. Yes. Aaron's hands rested for a moment. I don't want to become angry every time someone tries to help me. Geoff moved closer. Then tell us when helping starts feeling like control. I do, you two just call me stubborn. You are stubborn. Aaron glared at him. Geoff smiled slightly. And sometimes you're right. Aaron typed. Help me back into the chair. Geoff completed the transfer and adjusted Aaron's clothing and positioning. Everything feel okay? Aaron shifted slightly. Yes, thank you. Geoff placed the keyboard back in front of him. You're welcome. As they returned to the living room, Frank looked up from the laptop. It's live. Aaron stopped his chair. No cuts. No cuts. Comments on. Yes. Geoff moved beside Frank. How many views? It has been live for 30 seconds. Aaron typed. Refresh it. Frank laughed. You just got changed, exposed family trauma and started another internet fight. Can you breathe for 1 minute? Aaron looked at him. Refresh it, Frank. Frank refreshed the page. 47 views. Aaron nodded. Good, now help me into bed, both of you. Frank closed the laptop. You done with the internet? For tonight. Geoff raised an eyebrow. Really? Aaron typed. Unless Will says something else. Frank pointed toward the hallway. Number bed. Aaron allowed them to guide him toward his room. Before they entered, he typed one more message. Frank. Yes. I am still mad at you. I know. But stay tonight. Frank rested a hand on his shoulder. I will. Aaron looked toward Geoff. You too. Geoff nodded. Both of us. Aaron's expression softened. Good, I don't need either of you to save me, I just need you not to leave. Aaron's hands moved quickly across the keyboard. Geoff, call Rebecca, that Will is going to be sorry. Geoff stopped beside the bed. What do you mean by sorry? Aaron glared at him and typed again. Legally, dumbass, I want him to stop talking about my family and threatening to send people here. Frank exhaled. Thank God you explained that. Aaron looked toward him. I am angry, not stupid. Geoff pulled out his phone. It's late. She's our lawyer, call her. Geoff searched for Rebecca's number and pressed call. After several rings, she answered with a tired voice. Geoff, do you know what time it is? I'm sorry, but Aaron wants to speak with you. It's about the YouTube situation. There was a pause. Put me on speaker. Geoff activated the speaker and placed the phone near Aaron's keyboard. Rebecca asked Aaron what happened. Aaron typed while Geoff read his words aloud. He has made several videos accusing Frank and me of exploiting Aaron, Geoff said. He said Aaron doesn't understand his own decisions, threatened to get him help, and started talking about his birth and adoptive families. Rebecca's tone became more alert. Did he make any direct threat to come to the house? Aaron typed. He said he would get me help before it went too far. He keeps telling people I cannot understand anything. Frank added he also talked about imaginary children and said Geoff and I would exploit them. Rebecca sighed. Have you saved everything? Aaron immediately typed. Every video, title, comment, and date. Good, Rebecca said. Do not contact him privately, do not threaten him, and do not tell your viewers to go after him. Aaron looked toward Frank. Frank raised both hands. Don't look at me, I didn't send anybody. Rebecca continued, you can respond publicly but keep it factual. State that you are an adult, that you make your own decisions, and that you have asked him to stop contacting or discussing you. Aaron typed. I already told him to fuck off. Rebecca remained silent for a second. That is not exactly the wording I would have recommended. Geoff covered his mouth to hide a laugh. Aaron typed. He understood it, he just didn't listen. Then tomorrow morning, Rebecca said, send me every saved file. I'll review whether we have enough for a formal cease and desist letter. Aaron's expression hardened. Can we sue him? Possibly, but a lawsuit is not always the best first move. We would need to separate opinions from false factual claims and determine whether his statements caused measurable harm. Aaron typed. He made money from my face and dead family. That may matter, Rebecca replied, especially if he used substantial portions of your footage. We will also review whether copyright complaints are appropriate. Frank leaned closer to the phone. What about him saying Aaron cannot understand his choices? That is offensive, Rebecca said, but being offensive is not automatically illegal. False allegations of exploitation or abuse are more serious, especially if he presents them as facts. Aaron's fingers struck the keyboard harder. I want him to say my name one more time and regret it. Aaron, Geoff warned. Rebecca's voice became firm. Regret it through legal paperwork, correct? Aaron stared at the phone. Yes, I want his email full of lawyer words. Frank laughed before quickly covering his mouth. Even Rebecca sounded amused. That I can work with. Aaron continued typing. Tell him I do not need saving. Tell him I am 32. Tell him Geoff and Frank work for me and with me, and tell him to leave Ian and my parents out of it. I'll include your demand that he stop using your personal family history and stop implying that you lack decision-making capacity without evidence. Aaron looked at Geoff. See lawyer words. Geoff nodded. Very scary lawyer words. Rebecca added, until I review everything, nobody makes another angry video. Aaron immediately shook his head. No deal. Aaron. What if he posts tomorrow? Save it and send it to me, do not respond immediately. Aaron folded his arms. I hate lawyers. Rebecca laughed softly. You called me. Because I hate him more right now. Aaron, Geoff and Frank said together. Aaron typed. Fine, I strongly dislike his behavior more. That is slightly better, Rebecca said. Send me the evidence in the morning, then get some sleep. The call ended. Geoff placed his phone on the table. There, Rebecca is involved. Aaron typed. Good, now he can talk to somebody who gets paid to argue. Frank pulled the blanket over Aaron. You also get paid to argue. Aaron looked at him. Not enough. Geoff turned off the main light. Are you finally ready to sleep? Aaron stared at the laptop across the room. Put it where I cannot reach it. Both men looked surprised. Frank picked up the laptop. You're serious? Yes, because if Will uploads again, I will make another video and Rebecca will yell at me. Geoff smiled. That may be the most responsible decision you've made all week. Aaron typed. Do not ruin it by talking. Frank placed the laptop outside the bedroom and returned. Aaron looked between them. Tomorrow we send everything to Rebecca. We will, Geoff promised. Aaron settled against the pillow. Then we can find out what happens when the disabled guy understands lawyers. The next morning, Will uploaded another video. He sat close to the camera with a smug smile on his face. Aaron, how dumb are you? Will said. I'm Canadian, if you want to sue me, come up here, you're a public figure now, so it's not going to be easy. Aaron watched the clip without blinking. Frank stood behind his wheelchair. Geoff paced across the living room with his phone in his hand. Aaron began typing. Call Rebecca, now. I already sent her the link, Geoff said. Call her anyway, I want her to hear him call me dumb. Before Geoff could press the button, his phone rang. It's Rebecca. He answered and placed the call on speaker. I saw the video, Rebecca said. Aaron immediately typed, and Geoff read his words aloud. He thinks being Canadian makes him untouchable. It does not, Rebecca replied. Cross-border cases can be more complicated, but the internet is not a law-free zone. Aaron typed. And he called me dumb. I heard that too. Put it in the letter. Rebecca paused. I'll document it, but being rude by itself is not the strongest legal issue. Aaron struck the keyboard harder. He keeps saying I cannot understand anything. Now he calls me dumb because I hired a lawyer. That pattern may help show how he is portraying you, Rebecca said, but we need to focus on statements that are false, harmful, and presented as facts. Frank leaned toward the phone. He also said Aaron is a public figure now. Rebecca answered, uploading videos does not automatically erase Aaron's rights. Even public figures can challenge false factual claims. The standards may differ depending on the claim and the jurisdiction, but Will is oversimplifying the law. Aaron looked at Geoff. Record a response. Rebecca immediately said no. Aaron frowned. He made a video. And he wants you angry, Rebecca replied. Every time you respond immediately, he gets another video. So I let him call me dumb. You let me send the letter. Aaron's fingers hovered over the keyboard. I want to say one thing. What? Aaron typed slowly. Being Canadian does not make you smart, and being disabled does not make me dumb. Frank covered his mouth. Geoff looked away, trying not to laugh. Even Rebecca was quiet for a moment. That is a strong sentence, she admitted, but do not upload it yet. Aaron glared at the phone. You lawyers ruin everything. My job is to stop your anger from becoming his evidence. Geoff stopped packing. What do we do now? Rebecca answered, save the new video, do not contact him privately, do not encourage anyone to confront him. I will update the cease and desist letter and speak with Canadian counsel if necessary. Aaron typed. Make sure he knows I am not traveling to Canada to fight him. Frank looked at him. Why would she need to say that? Aaron typed. Because he said come up there and everybody thinks Geoff and I fight people. Geoff folded his arms. I wasn't going to Canada. Aaron stared at him. You were packing like you were searching for your passport. I was angry. Rebecca interrupted them. Neither of you is going anywhere. This remains a documentation and legal issue. Aaron typed. Fine, but I still want to respond. Record it privately, Rebecca said. Do not upload it until I review it. Aaron looked toward Frank. Camera. Frank hesitated. You heard her, private recording only. I heard her, pick it up. Frank placed the camera on the table and pressed record. Aaron looked directly into the lens. Will, you asked how dumb I am. I am smart enough to save every video you make. I am smart enough to hire a lawyer instead of coming to your house. And I am smart enough to know that living in Canada does not give you permission to lie about people. Geoff stood silently behind him. Aaron continued. You called me a public figure because my videos received attention. Fine, then you should understand that your videos are public too, your words are saved, your titles are saved, your threats to get me help are saved. Frank glanced toward Geoff. Aaron typed again. You keep using my disability as proof that I cannot understand you. I understand you perfectly. You want me angry enough to make a mistake. His hand slowed. I am angry, but I am not coming to Canada. I am not sending anybody after you. I am sending your videos to my lawyer. Geoff nodded approvingly. Aaron finished. Being Canadian does not make you untouchable. Being disabled does not make me dumb. Leave me and my family alone. Frank stopped the recording. That was actually controlled. Aaron looked at him. Do not sound so surprised. Geoff picked up his phone. I'm sending it to Rebecca. Aaron typed. Tell her not to remove the Canadian line. A moment later, Rebecca sent a message back. Geoff read it aloud. She says, do not upload this yet, but keep the recording. The letter will be sent today. Aaron leaned back in his wheelchair. Good. Frank closed the camera. You're really going to wait? Aaron looked at the screen showing Will's paused face. Yes. Geoff raised an eyebrow. Why? Aaron typed. Because he wants another angry video. This time he gets a lawyer instead. Aaron looked away from Will's paused video and moved his hands across the keyboard. Let's do a physical therapy video. Frank stared at him. You heard Rebecca, she said not to talk about Will. Aaron typed back immediately. Rebecca said don't talk, she never said workouts can't be uploaded. Frank folded his arms. You're looking for a loophole. I found one, get the camera. Geoff walked into the room carrying Aaron's resistance bands. What's going on? Frank pointed toward Aaron. He wants to upload a physical therapy video because Rebecca only told him not to respond to Will. Aaron nodded proudly. Exactly, no Will, no Canada, no lawsuit, just me working out. Geoff looked suspicious. You're not going to wear a shirt that says, "I'm not dumb, are you?" Aaron paused before typing. I wasn't, but that is a good idea. No, Frank and Geoff said together. Aaron rolled his eyes. Find normal clothes. Frank picked up the camera. This is supposed to be an actual therapy session, not another response video disguised as exercise. It will be both. Aaron looked at Frank. I mean, it will be therapy and content, relax. Geoff positioned Aaron's chair in the open area of the living room. He attached the resistance band to the side of the chair while Frank adjusted the camera. You ready? Geoff asked. Aaron typed. Start with arms, my legs are tired today. Frank turned on the camera. The red light appeared. Aaron looked directly into the lens and typed his introduction. Today is a normal physical therapy day. No internet drama, no fighting, just me trying to make my body do things it does not want to do. Frank stood beside him. That was good. I know, start the exercise. Geoff placed the resistance band handles into Aaron's hands. 10 pulls, slow and controlled. Aaron pulled once, his arms trembling. 1, Geoff counted. Aaron completed the second pull. 2. By the 5th repetition, his breathing had grown heavier. Frank moved closer. You good? Aaron nodded and typed with one hand. Do not stop the camera because I'm struggling. This is what therapy looks like. Geoff steadied Aaron's wrist. We're not stopping, but don't hurt yourself trying to prove something. I am not proving anything to Will. Nobody had mentioned Will. Frank looked at Geoff. Aaron noticed. Do not look at each other like that, keep counting. 6, Geoff said. Aaron completed another pull. 7. His left arm weakened during the 8th repetition, and the band slipped slightly. Frank reached forward, but Aaron shook his head. Let me try again. Geoff repositioned the handle. Take your time. Aaron pulled until his arm reached the correct position. 8, Geoff said. Aaron leaned back, exhausted but smiling. That one counts twice. It does not, Frank replied. You are a terrible caregiver. And you're still at 8. Aaron completed the final 2 repetitions. Geoff removed the band. 10. Aaron let his arms rest on the chair. Frank moved behind the camera. Do you want a break? Aaron typed. 2 minutes, keep recording. Geoff handed him water. Aaron took several sips through the straw before typing again. People think care is only feeding me, changing me, or putting me to bed. This is part of it too. Geoff helps with the exercises. Frank watches my breathing and positioning. I complain the entire time. That last part is the most consistent, Geoff said. Aaron smiled. Neither of them is forcing me to do this. I asked to record it. Frank narrowed his eyes. That sounded a little like a response. It is information about the workout. You're impossible. Aaron faced the camera again. Needing help does not mean I do nothing. Sometimes my work is completing 10 movements that most people would not even think about. Geoff prepared a lighter band. Are you ready for shoulder movements? Aaron typed. Yes, but only 5. You usually do 8. My arms are tired, 5 today. Geoff nodded. 5 today. Frank looked into the camera. That is another thing people don't see. Aaron can say no or change the plan. Aaron typed. Thank you, Frank, that sounded better than your last speech. Frank laughed. I thought we weren't talking about that. We are start counting. Geoff helped Aaron through the next set. Each movement was slow and Aaron needed more support as the repetitions continued. After the 5th movement, Aaron let his hands fall into his lap. Done. Geoff checked his posture. Your body looks tired. My body is always tired. Frank stopped the camera. You did enough. Aaron looked toward him. Turn it back on, I need an ending. Frank pressed record again. Aaron typed. That was today's physical therapy session. It was not inspirational, it was not brave, it was work, and now I want lunch. Geoff smiled. What do you want? Aaron typed. Pizza. You had pizza yesterday. Physical therapy burns calories. Frank laughed. That sounds medically questionable. Aaron looked into the camera one final time. My caregivers are now exploiting me by refusing pizza. Send help. Geoff immediately reached for the camera. Cut that part. Aaron began laughing. No cuts. Rebecca said I couldn't talk about Will. She never said I couldn't make jokes. A few hours after Aaron uploaded the physical therapy video, a doctor posted his own reaction. Dr. Eid sat in front of his camera with Aaron's therapy video paused beside him. Will, you need to relax with this exploitation accusation, he said. In Aaron's latest video, he did physical therapy. His caregivers repeatedly asked whether he wanted a break, adjusted the exercises when he said he was tired, and respected his decision to stop. Dr. Eid played the clip of Geoff asking, "Do you want a break?" Then he showed Aaron typing. 2 minutes, keep recording. Dr. Eid paused the footage again. That is not what someone being forced looks like. Aaron is clearly directing his own content. He leaned toward the camera. Aaron has more than 300,000 subscribers. He understands how to make videos, respond to his audience, and earn money from his channel. You may not agree with every video he uploads, but disagreement is not evidence of exploitation. Dr. Eid played another clip. Aaron was shown changing the therapy plan from 8 shoulder movements to 5. Geoff immediately agreed. This is important, Dr. Eid explained. Aaron set a limit and his caregiver respected it. Nobody forced him to complete the original number. Dr. Eid looked directly into the camera. Needing assistance does not automatically mean someone lacks decision-making ability. Aaron uses a wheelchair, has communication challenges, and requires daily care. None of those facts prove that he cannot understand his own YouTube channel. Frank found the video first. He walked into Aaron's room holding his phone. A doctor made a video about you. Aaron quickly reached for his keyboard. Good doctor or fake internet doctor? Real doctor as far as I can tell. His name is Dr. Eid. Geoff entered behind Frank. What did he say? Frank played the video from the beginning. Aaron watched silently as Dr. Eid defended the therapy session and explained that needing physical assistance was different from lacking the ability to make decisions. When the video ended, Aaron typed, "Play the part about 300,000 subscribers again." Geoff rolled his eyes. Of course that's your favorite part. Frank replayed it. Aaron has more than 300,000 subscribers. He understands how to make videos, respond to his audience, and earn money from his channel. Aaron smiled. A doctor said I am good at YouTube, put that on a shirt. Geoff sat beside him. He didn't say you were good, he said you understand it. Aaron stared at him. Why do you hate my success? I don't hate your success. Sounds like jealousy. Frank laughed. Geoff pointed at the screen. The important part is that somebody with medical experience explained the difference between needing care and not understanding. Aaron typed, I said the same thing, nobody listened until a doctor said it. Frank's smile faded. You're right. Aaron continued. I told Will I understood, you told him, Geoff told him, Rebecca told him, now a doctor says it and people suddenly believe it. Geoff nodded slowly. That happens too often. Aaron looked toward the camera sitting on his desk. I want to respond to Dr. Eid. Frank immediately raised a finger. Rebecca said no talking about Will. I said Dr. Eid. You're still trying to use loopholes. That is what smart people do. Geoff picked up the camera. What do you want to say? Frank looked at him. You're encouraging this now. He wants to thank the doctor, that's different. Aaron positioned his keyboard and nodded for Geoff to begin recording. The red light came on. Aaron looked into the lens and typed. Dr. Eid, thank you for watching the entire therapy video before giving your opinion. He paused. Thank you for noticing that Geoff and Frank asked whether I needed a break. Thank you for noticing that I changed the number of exercises and they listened. Frank stood beside Aaron's chair. Aaron continued. I wish people believed disabled adults before a doctor had to explain us, but I appreciate you using your platform to say it clearly. Geoff nodded. That's good. Aaron typed. Do not interrupt the professional content creator. Geoff stepped back. Aaron faced the camera again. I need help every day. Frank helps me eat, dress, and manage my care. Geoff helps with therapy, money, and equipment. Sometimes they annoy me. Sometimes they protect me too much. Sometimes I am stubborn. Frank whispered, sometimes. Aaron glanced at him before continuing. But needing their help does not mean they own my decisions. Aaron rested his hands for a moment. Will keeps asking whether I understand what I am doing. I understand that my videos make money. I understand that strangers will judge me. I understand that some moments should stay private, and I decide which moments those are. Frank looked toward Geoff. This is probably the clearest he's explained it. Aaron finished typing. Dr. Eid, thank you for listening. Also, since you mentioned my 300,000 subscribers, please remind Geoff that I am successful. He keeps acting jealous. Geoff reached for the camera. I am turning this off. Aaron laughed as Frank stopped the recording. What title? Frank asked. Aaron typed. A doctor finally told Will to relax. Geoff shook his head. Rebecca will hate that. Aaron deleted the title and tried again. Thank you, Dr. Eid. Better, Frank said. Aaron added smaller text for the thumbnail. I understand my own life. Frank uploaded the video and tagged Dr. Eid's channel. Within an hour, Dr. Eid left a comment. Frank read it aloud. You're welcome, Aaron. Keep setting your own limits and make sure therapy remains safe and guided by your medical team. Aaron nodded. Pin it. Frank pinned the comment. Geoff refreshed the subscriber count. 312,000. Aaron's eyes widened. We gained 12,000. Since the therapy video. Aaron looked toward Geoff with a smug smile. What were you saying about me not being good at YouTube? I never said that. The camera remembers. Frank laughed. Geoff pointed toward the kitchen. The successful content creator still needs lunch. Aaron typed. Pizza. No. Dr. Eid said I set my own limits. He was talking about physical therapy. My limit is no vegetables today. Frank picked up the camera again. This might be the next video. Aaron looked directly into the lens. 300,000 subscribers and I still cannot get pizza in my own house. Now that is exploitation. A few weeks later, Geoff, Frank, and Rebecca prepared to go to court. This time, Aaron insisted on being there. Rebecca stood near the front door with a folder tucked under her arm. Aaron, this is only the first hearing, she explained. You don't have to attend in person. Aaron moved his hands across his keyboard. Will talked about me, my disability, and my family. I want the judge to see my face when you repeat his words. Geoff adjusted the bag attached to Aaron's wheelchair. You know this could be stressful. I know I still want to go. Frank placed Aaron's camera bag on the table. Are we recording? Rebecca immediately shook her head. Not inside the courtroom unless the court gives permission. Aaron typed. I'm not trying to get arrested for content. Leave the camera in the van. Frank looked surprised. That might be the smartest thing you've said during this whole situation. Aaron glared at him. Change your mind before I make you walk to court. Geoff laughed and opened the front door. Let's go before both of you start another argument. At the courthouse, several people recognized Aaron from YouTube. Some quietly waved. Others lifted their phones and began recording him as Frank guided his chair toward the entrance. Aaron stopped. They are recording me outside court. Rebecca looked over her shoulder. You're involved in a public dispute. People may be curious, but nobody should block your way. Aaron looked directly at one of the phones. At least tag my channel. Aaron, Rebecca warned. I didn't talk about the case. Inside, security inspected Aaron's chair and medical bag before allowing the group through. Frank stayed close while Geoff carried the documents Rebecca had prepared. When they entered the courtroom, Will appeared on a large video screen. He had been allowed to attend remotely from Canada. Will smiled when he saw Aaron. Well, he actually came, Will muttered. Aaron immediately began typing. Rebecca placed her hand near his keyboard. Not yet. Aaron looked at her sharply. Let me handle the opening, she whispered. You will have your opportunity. The judge entered, and everyone rose except Aaron. The court clerk glanced toward his wheelchair, then continued without comment. After everyone sat, the judge reviewed the documents. This matter concerns repeated online statements, the use of video footage, and alleged harassment between two online creators, the judge said. Before we begin, I want both parties to understand that this courtroom will not become another episode of their internet dispute. Will's smile disappeared. Rebecca stood. Your Honor, my client, Aaron Smith, is present today because the statements at issue directly attack his capacity to understand and control his own life. Aaron looked at Rebecca. It was the first time he had heard his full name spoken in court without someone else trying to speak over him. Rebecca continued. Mr. Smith is a 32-year-old content creator with more than 300,000 subscribers. He directs his videos, controls his channel, and decides which footage is published. Will interrupted from the screen. That is what his caregivers told him to say. The judge looked toward the screen. You will not interrupt counsel again. Aaron's hands tightened around the keyboard. Rebecca opened her folder. That interruption demonstrates the problem, Your Honor. Every time Mr. Smith expresses a choice, the respondent claims someone else placed the thought in his mind. The judge turned toward Aaron. Mr. Smith, are you able to communicate through that device? Aaron typed. Yes, Your Honor, the device reads what I type aloud. Do you understand why you are here today? Yes, Will repeatedly accused Geoff and Frank of exploiting me. He said I was too disabled to understand my own decisions. He discussed my dead parents, my birth family, and imaginary children who do not exist. When I told him to stop, he said he would get me help anyway. Will leaned toward his camera. I was trying to protect him. Aaron typed immediately. From what? The judge raised a hand. Mr. Smith, direct your answers to me. Aaron looked toward the judge. Sorry, Your Honor, I have been asking that question for weeks. He has never answered it. The judge looked back at Will. What exactly did you believe Mr. Smith needed protection from? Those two men, Will answered, pointing toward Geoff and Frank through the screen. They record him while he's upset. They make money from his disability. Aaron began typing, but Rebecca gently signaled for him to wait. The judge asked, do you possess evidence that Mr. Smith was forced to participate? I watched the videos. In those videos, did Mr. Smith communicate that he wanted the recording to stop? Will hesitated. No, but he may not understand. Aaron struck the final key. That is his answer to everything. The voice from Aaron's device echoed throughout the courtroom. The judge looked toward him but did not reprimand him. Instead, she turned back to Will. You cannot use a person's disability as automatic proof that every decision they make is invalid. Will's expression hardened. I'm allowed to give my opinion. Aaron is a public figure. Rebecca stood again. You may criticize his content, you may dislike his decision to record personal moments, but repeatedly claiming that identifiable caregivers are exploiting a disabled adult can be understood as an allegation of serious misconduct. Will folded his arms. So now nobody can criticize disabled creators. Aaron typed. You criticized everybody except me. You never treated me like the creator. You treated me like the thing being used. The courtroom became silent. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Smith, explain what you mean. Aaron took his time. When my videos made money, Will said Geoff and Frank were exploiting me. When I responded, he said they told me what to type. When I hired Rebecca, he called me dumb. Every decision I made became another reason for him to say I could not make decisions. Frank lowered his eyes. Geoff placed his hand near Aaron's shoulder but waited until Aaron nodded before touching him. Aaron continued. I need help eating, getting dressed, doing therapy, and going to bed. Geoff and Frank help me with those things. That does not mean they control my channel or own my thoughts. The judge asked, did either man pressure you to upload the original video? No, they asked me not to upload it. I was stubborn. A few people in the courtroom quietly laughed. Even the judge's expression softened. Do you regret posting it? Aaron paused. Sometimes it showed one of the worst nights of my life, but regretting part of a choice does not mean the choice was never mine. Rebecca nodded. That distinction is central to our position, Your Honor. The judge looked toward Will. Mr. Smith has now directly stated, both online and under questioning in this courtroom, that he controls his content. Do you accept that? Will stared at the screen. I still think something is wrong. Aaron typed. You are allowed to think my videos are wrong. You are not allowed to decide I am not a person because you do not like them. Will shook his head. I never said he wasn't a person. You spoke to Geoff and Frank about me, you spoke to doctors about me, you spoke to your viewers about me, you only spoke directly to me when you called me dumb. Geoff whispered, damn. Rebecca gave him a warning look. The judge reviewed several printed screenshots. I have also seen statements about Mr. Smith's adoption and deceased relatives. What relevance did those statements have to your criticism of his channel? Will did not answer immediately. I was showing a pattern. A pattern based on private family information you could not verify, the judge asked. Will shifted in his chair. Aaron typed. He used dead people because they could not correct him. Frank's eyes filled with tears. The judge remained silent for several seconds. Aaron's hands began trembling over the keyboard. Rebecca noticed and leaned toward him. You don't have to say anything else. Aaron shook his head. I want to. The judge waited as Aaron slowly typed. Your Honor, I lost my trust. I lost my money. That is why I started posting more of my life online. Having a disability is not cheap and my brother should not have to work a third job just to pay my caregiver. Geoff lowered his head. Frank's eyes filled with tears, but he remained silent. Aaron continued. My trust became part of another court case. The people accused of taking it died while they still had my money. The people are gone and so is the money. The courtroom became completely silent. The judge looked toward Rebecca. Is this related to a previously established disability trust? Yes, Your Honor, Rebecca answered. The trust was intended to fund Aaron's lifelong care. A substantial portion of it disappeared during an earlier legal dispute. The people believed to have controlled the missing funds later died, which made recovering the money extremely difficult. Will moved closer to his camera. That still doesn't mean his caregivers should film him while he's crying. Aaron immediately typed. I filmed myself because I needed income. Geoff and Frank did not decide that for me. The judge raised a hand toward the screen. Mr. Will, you will wait until you are addressed. Will leaned back. The judge turned toward Aaron. Mr. Smith, do you believe you had other options for earning money? Aaron paused before responding. Maybe, but YouTube was something I already knew how to do. I could control the camera from my chair. I could type what I wanted to say. I could work from home while dealing with my health. He looked toward Geoff before continuing. Geoff already lost years of his life taking care of money problems that were not his fault. Frank works every day and stays during the nights when I have seizures or night terrors. They should be paid. Frank wiped his eyes. Aaron, you don't have to. Yes, I do. Aaron faced the judge again. People see the views and think we are getting rich from my pain. They do not see the cost of my wheelchair, medical equipment, therapy, supplies, transportation, or full-time care. The judge asked, did Mr. Will know about the loss of your trust before making these allegations? No, he never asked. He decided the answer was exploitation before he knew anything about our finances. Rebecca opened another section of her folder. Your Honor, several of the respondents' videos imply that Geoff and Frank created the channel to profit from Aaron. The channel existed as Aaron's work, and his increased posting followed the loss of the funds meant to support his care. Will shook his head. I didn't know about the trust. Aaron typed. That is the point. You did not know, but you still told everybody you knew why we were recording. Will fell silent. Aaron continued. I should not have to tell the internet every painful detail about my money before people believe that I understand my own bills. The judge nodded slightly. You are correct. You are not required to disclose private financial information to prove that you possess decision-making capacity. Aaron took a breath. I posted the funeral video because I was grieving, angry, and scared about money. Maybe posting it that night was not my best decision. Geoff and Frank both told me to wait. He looked toward them. I refused. Geoff placed a hand on the back of Aaron's wheelchair. Aaron typed again. That does not make them exploiters, it makes me stubborn. A quiet laugh moved through the courtroom. The judge looked toward Will's screen. Do you understand the distinction Mr. Smith is making? Will hesitated. He says it was his choice. Aaron immediately responded. It was my choice, do not say that I only say it was. The judge's voice became firmer. Mr. Will, this court has now heard direct testimony from Mr. Smith. Unless you possess evidence contradicting that testimony, you cannot simply disregard it because of his disability. Will folded his arms. I still think his caregivers should have stopped him. Rebecca stood. They advised him not to post. They did not physically take his equipment or remove his access to his own channel. Respecting an adult's autonomy sometimes means allowing that adult to make a choice you disagree with. The judge turned back toward Aaron. Mr. Smith, what outcome are you requesting from this court? Aaron looked at Will's image on the screen. His fingers rested on the keyboard for several seconds before he typed. I do not want his money, I know what it feels like to lose everything. Rebecca looked surprised. Aaron continued. I want him to stop using my footage, stop accusing Geoff and Frank of crimes without evidence, and stop telling people that I cannot understand my own decisions. The judge asked, do you want him prohibited from ever discussing you? Aaron thought carefully. He can criticize my videos, he can say he hates them, he can say posting grief online is wrong, but he cannot invent things about my family or tell people I need to be rescued after I told him to leave me alone. Rebecca smiled slightly. That is a reasonable distinction, Your Honor. The judge reviewed the documents again. Aaron looked toward Geoff and typed privately on the smaller screen so only his brother could read it. You should never have needed a third job for me. Geoff crouched beside him. I would have worked 10 jobs. Aaron shook his head. That is not love, that is you destroying yourself. It felt like the only choice. Now YouTube gives us another choice. Geoff looked toward the judge, then back at Aaron. I understand that now. Aaron typed. Good, because I am not quitting. Despite the seriousness of the courtroom, Geoff smiled. I didn't think you would. Geoff slowly raised his hand. Your Honor, may I say something? The judge looked toward him. Yes, you may. Geoff stood beside Aaron's wheelchair. Aaron does have some delays, I'm not going to lie about that. He needs more time with certain things, and sometimes he reacts before thinking everything through. Aaron turned toward him sharply. Geoff raised a hand. I'm not finished. Aaron stared at him but allowed him to continue. Geoff faced the judge again. But having delays does not mean he cannot understand his own life. He glanced toward Frank. The night Aaron wanted to post the video of himself crying, Frank asked him exactly what would happen if people accused us of exploiting him. Frank nodded. I asked because I was worried about how it would look. Geoff continued. Aaron told us they aren't paying our bills, we are. The courtroom became quiet. Geoff looked toward Will's image on the screen. That is what people like Will do not understand. They believe that because Aaron needs help, every decision he makes must belong to somebody else. Will shook his head. That is not what I said. Geoff turned toward him. You said he only thought he wanted it. The judge looked toward Will. Do not interrupt. Geoff continued. Aaron understood that people might criticize the video, he understood that strangers might accuse us. Frank and I warned him before anything was uploaded. Geoff pointed gently toward Aaron. He still wanted it posted. Aaron typed. Because it was my video. Geoff nodded. Exactly. He looked back toward the judge. People do not have to like Aaron's choices, sometimes I do not like his choices, Frank does not like all of them either. Frank quietly added, definitely not. Aaron looked at him. Watch yourself. A few people in the courtroom laughed. Even the judge briefly smiled. Geoff continued. But disagreement is not exploitation. We cannot say Aaron is an adult only when he makes decisions we approve of. Rebecca nodded from the table. Geoff took a breath. Aaron's life is expensive, his chair is expensive, his equipment, transportation, therapy, and daily care are expensive. After his trust disappeared, we had to find ways to keep everything going. His voice began to shake. I was prepared to work another job, I would have done it. Aaron typed immediately. And I told him no. Geoff looked down at him. Aaron continued. He is my brother, not a machine for making money. Geoff swallowed hard. That is why Aaron wanted his channel to work. He did not want every responsibility falling onto me. The judge asked, "Did you receive money from Aaron's channel?" Geoff answered carefully. The channel income goes toward household and care expenses. We keep records. Aaron knows what the money pays for. Aaron typed. And I ask about every number because Geoff is bad at explaining money. Geoff looked at him. I am not bad at explaining money. You use too many words. Frank covered his mouth to hide a laugh. The judge turned toward Aaron. Mr. Smith, do you understand that posting personal footage may have long-term consequences? Yes, Your Honor. You understand that once a video is online, people may copy it, criticize it, or discuss it. Yes, that is what we did. The judge nodded. And you still chose to upload it. Yes, Frank and Geoff asked me to wait. I said no. Geoff faced the judge again. That is the part people keep ignoring. We did not push him toward the camera. We were trying to pull him away from it. Frank stood. Your Honor, may I add something? The judge nodded. Frank moved beside Geoff. I was scared that people would think we were using Aaron. I told him that directly. He looked toward Aaron. And Aaron told me that the people judging us did not pay for his care. Aaron typed. Because they do not. Frank nodded. They get to turn off the video. We still have to live here after the camera stops. Geoff looked at Will's screen. You saw Aaron crying and decided that meant he could not consent. We saw Aaron crying and still listened to what he said. Will leaned toward the camera. You should have protected him from himself. Aaron's hands immediately moved. That is what my parents said every time they controlled me. The courtroom fell silent again. Aaron continued. They said they were protecting me when they watched me at camp. They said they were protecting me when they stopped me from doing normal things. Everybody who controls me says it is protection. Geoff rested his hand near Aaron's shoulder. Aaron nodded, allowing him to touch him. Geoff looked toward the judge. That is why we are careful. Sometimes helping Aaron and controlling Aaron can look similar from the outside. The judge asked, how do you distinguish between the two? Geoff answered without hesitation. We ask him. Frank added, and then we listen, even when his answer is frustrating. Aaron typed. Especially when it is frustrating. The judge leaned back. So your position is that Mr. Smith may have cognitive or developmental limitations, but he still retains the ability to direct his content and make decisions about his channel. Yes, Your Honor, Geoff said. And if there is ever a decision he truly cannot make, that should be determined by people who actually know him and qualified professionals, not a stranger making reaction videos. Rebecca stood. That is precisely our argument. The judge looked toward Will. Mr. Will, the fact that Mr. Smith has limitations does not give you authority over him, nor does it allow you to replace his stated wishes with your own assumptions. Will looked down. Aaron typed one final statement. He does not have to understand why I posted it, he only has to understand that I chose it. The judge nodded. That distinction has been made very clear. Geoff sat back down beside Aaron. Aaron looked at him and typed privately. You almost made me mad when you said delays. Geoff whispered, I know. But you fixed it. Thank you. The judge looked down at the documents before turning toward Will's screen. Mr. Will, you used portions of Mr. Smith's footage in 4 monetized videos. You also continued using that footage after he clearly told you to stop. Will leaned toward his camera. But I was commenting on it, it was fair use. The judge raised her hand. That is not a decision you get to make simply by saying the words fair use. The amount used, the purpose of the videos, and the revenue earned must all be examined. She looked toward Aaron. Mr. Smith has requested compensation rather than having the court prohibit all criticism of his public content. I find that request reasonable. Aaron sat straighter in his wheelchair. The judge faced Will again. You have 2 options. The courtroom became silent. You may remove the 4 videos and provide a full accounting of the money earned from them. After that,